what's your opinion about the land tenure that's been instituted in Zimbabwe? Because I heard about that recently, that there's a new land tenure policy in Zimbabwe.
Yes, the Robert Mugabe regime managed to grab land away from the colonial hands. Unfortunately, that land did not meet with skills, with equipment, with funding to beneficiate the value of the land. So what ended up happening is that the army generals and the police and the top officials in the government during the land grab issue were on top of the food chain to go to the white farms and grab the white farms. But unfortunately, some of them did neither have skill, nor money, nor equipment to work the land. And as a result, the production, food supply slumped into the ground, which resulted in recession, which we have been under for the past 20 years. But the land tenure issue is founded on a principle that when you want funding from the bank, you need surety to guarantee the loan. And the only thing you can use to guarantee the loan is an irremovable asset.
Yeah.
And the only irremovable asset we have is land. Now you understand why Standard Bank, Barclays Bank left Zimbabwe. Because once the land was grabbed away from them,
Wow.
all the loans and the liability that they had risked on in terms of funding the farmers who used land as surety no longer had the surety that the loan would be paid back. And the farmer would walk back and say, I can't pay you your loan because I don't have the land. So the banks and the insurance companies closed and left the country and threw the economy into a spiral of IMF emergency service rescue, which has seen us going into recession for the past 25 years. As of 2 weeks ago, the Zimbabwean government has come up with a land tenure policy. What does that mean? It means that every piece of land in Zimbabwe, the government will give you a land tenure document, which gives you access and ownership to the land that you have.
Okay.
And once you have that letter, you can walk up to the bank as a Zimbabwean, and the government has put a policy and a bank which then gives you the loan at a government rate which is below the banks, the commercial banks, to protect the loss of land in the hands of African commercial workers. It means that therefore now the next step will be the release of those letters to the Zimbabwean community, the black community, who can now go to the government and access funding through the banks and insurance to cover that. And they can come back and develop, whether it is tree plantation, agricultural plantation, or mining, and etc. So the land tenure issue, which has become the pivotal role of Zimbabwe beginning to build its own economy. That policy on its own has unlocked, I think, close to about 25 billion in terms of the value, just the value of land vis-a-vis those that hold it.
Yeah.
So that opens up a whole window of an investment opportunity for the market itself. And I would like to say from Farmers of Thought that we are very excited that this policy is in place. The grabbing of land was a good thing. We have gone through the learning processes and the learning curves of how to utilize the land. But with the land tenure, now we can afford the materials, the money, the labor, the sureties, the insurances to develop the land and make viable businesses based on the means of production which is land in itself. And the chairman of that land tenure issue is the contestant, Changambire, who is one of the biggest businessmen in the country, who has done a lot of work to invest in the country. He has done investments in banking, in oil, in agriculture, in roads, infrastructure, in transportation, in mining. And he has actually shown us that when Africans want to capture their governments, don't capture them through political conniving with colonizers. Capture the government by assisting the government to deliver on its mandate. Therefore, the Triple P projects become very critical because you now have a 5-10-year program of what the government wants to do with the hospital, with the road, with the what. And when the government is still going to be waiting for money to build it in 15 years, Triple P project says, okay, government, give me this project. I'll deliver it now. You will pay me in the future as we go ahead. So this unlocks a whole new form of business, which we have seen as early as last week, the first interchange in the country being built to the value of more than $80 million, which now actually increases traffic and etc. Many people are complaining that other interchanges in the country, in Africa, are built for 45 million. Zimbabwe one is 85 million, 82 million. It's corruption, it's whatever, but they're doing those things in their country. Consider the cost of labor. Consider a dilapidated economy in the manufacturing industry that had collapsed to zero. Where cement deficit, cost of money itself in terms of loans, and a country like Zimbabwe has to order cement from Zambia, order machinery from South Africa, order this from there, get the designs from there, because that capacity to develop the product is not locally available. And now you want to compare that the development of Zimbabwe must be equivalent to the development of South Africa in 2025, when Zimbabwe is coming out of a recession where we saw 111,000% inflation in the country. It has never happened anywhere in the country, in the world. But people would want to measure Zimbabwe and call development corruption. I have good news for you. The Americans do business with Americans. The Chinese do business with Chinese.
Yeah.
The Indians do business with Indians. The British do business with British. But when an African does business with African, it's corruption. Because an African must not be allowed to come close to money. But until the black business people, the black business community capture their own government, and I'm using that word capture in a very sensitive way, that you capture the government in terms of participating. We have businessmen like Strive Masiwa, who is a billionaire around the world. But are you aware that in Zimbabwe we have the highest data, SMS, and Falcon rates in the world? He has just bought 2 flats in Manhattan, 46 million each. He has been declared as a sir in Britain, and the citizenship here. We have not seen his money in the country, either developing a clinic, a road, or fixing some problem that the community has. So we need to start giving value where value is and credit where credit is due. And I would like to openly, to the critique of my own name, that I would understand with Changambire that what he is doing, if we can have 10 businessmen of that quality who will make money in the country and spend money in the country. I mean, look at Ghana. Those guys are making money in Ghana. But the question is, where are they spending that money? You go to Kenya, they make money in Kenya. Where are they spending the money? You go to South Africa, they make money in South Africa. No, they're all sitting in Dubai with their feet hanging in the sand. So you make 10 million from here and you go and buy a flat in Dubai and put your money in Mauritius, then put another tax haven in Virgin Islands. We now know these things. So we need to stay African business people must capture their own governments. How do you capture the government? Find out the problems of your government, invest your money, your time, your efforts in solving the problems of the community. That is how we do it. And there's no white men, Chinamen, Indian men who do that for us. For us to wait for the Chinese and the Russians to come to Africa with initiatives of infrastructure development, we're ordering another form of colonization. The best colonization would rather have is Africans must colonize Africa. So the land tenure debate, put it to rest. All African countries must follow the model. But because Zimbabwe has made a mistake, you can learn from that. So but the simple process is train the students first. After training the students, take the land. After taking the land, give them the loans. Put the insurances. And let business roll.
Brilliant. Well said.